Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel Shweta Singh. In this video, we are going to learn about meningitis. But before starting, let's have a quick look on the anatomy and physiology. So you all know that the central nervous system comprises of two structures, that is the brain and the spinal cord. Now the brain is protected inside the skull bone and the spinal cord is protected inside the vertebral column. Along with these, there are three layers of meninges. There is a membranous layer or a membranous covering that surrounds the brain and the spinal cord, which protects the brain and the spinal cord from any injury or any shock. Now meninges hota kya hai? Meninges are dura mater, arachnoid matter and pia mater. These three layers are known as the meninges. So starting from inside of the brain, the layer that is adherent to the brain is known as the pia mater, that is the innermost layer. Then outside the pia mater is the arachnoid matter and then is the dura mater. Then you can see the classification over here. Meninges are divided in three layers: dura mater, arachnoid matter and the pia mater. Dura mater is the outer layer, arachnoid matter is the middle layer and pia mater is the innermost layer. Now ड्यूरा मैटर और एरिकनॉइड मैटर के बीच में जो लेयर होती है उसे सबड्यूरल स्पेस बोलते हैं. सब मीन्स नीचे, ड्यूरल मीन्स ड्यूरा मैटर, यानी सब ड्यूरा मैटर के नीचे वाली जो स्पेस है, सब ड्यूरा मैटर और एरिकनॉइड मैटर के बीच में जो स्पेस है दैट इज नोन एज सबड्यूरल स्पेस. सेम अरेक्नॉइड मैटर और पाया मैटर के बीच में जो स्पेस है दैट इज नोन एज द सब अरेक्नॉइड स्पेस विच कंटेन्स द CSF और द cerebrospinal fluid. Now I have already told you all about the meninges or what are the three layers of the meninges. अब ये meningitis क्या होता है? Meningitis is made from two words, meninges and itis means inflammation. Itis refers to the inflammation. Meninges means the three protective layers, that is the dura mater, arachnoid matter and the pia mater, which covers or surrounds the brain and spinal cord. Itis refers to the inflammation, that is inflammation of two inner layers. Two inner layers that is known as the leptomeninges. Specifically, it refers to the inflammation of the leptomeninges. Leptomeninges means the pia mater and the arachnoid matter. These two layers are known as leptomeninges because these two layers are very thin. These two layers are very thin as compared to the dura mater, which is a very tough and hard covering of the brain. Conventionally, meningitis refers to the inflammation of these two layers only, arachnoid matter and the pia mater, which are called as leptomeninges. Very rarely the dura mater is also involved until and unless some pathogen directly enters into the brain and inflames the dura mater, that is in case of any accident or in case of any injury. Definition: what is meningitis? Meningitis refers to the inflammation of the meninges, that is the outer covering that surrounds the brain and the spinal cord. Meningitis is very commonly seen in neonates and older children, and the mortality rate due to the meningitis is also very high. Now coming to the types of meningitis, meningitis is divided into three. First is pyogenic meningitis. Pyogenic meningitis is also known as bacterial meningitis. Next है tuberculous meningitis, and the last one is aseptic meningitis. Aseptic meningitis is caused by virus, protozoa and fungi. Next, coming to the etiology of meningitis. How is etiology means causes? How is meningitis caused? तो if अगर कोई प्राइमरी इन्फेक्शन ऑलरेडी न्यूनेट में या ऑलरेडी किसी बेबी में है, दैट प्राइमरी इन्फेक्शन और दैट माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म, इफ इट इज पोटेंट इनफ, इट कैन मूव अपवर्ड्स and it can cross the brain, it can cross the blood brain barrier and inflame the three layers of the meninges, that is the arachnoid matter, pia matter and the dura mater. So if any primary infection like sinusitis, otitis media, mastoiditis, pneumonia or osteomyelitis, if any of these primary infection or any upper respiratory tract infection already occurs in the neonates, it can move to the blood-brain barrier through the hematogenous spread and it can cause inflammation to the meninges. Now, what are the causative organisms of meningitis? Main causative organisms. First is E. coli, Streptococcus pneumoniae, Streptococcus aureus and Neisseria meningitidis. These are the causative organisms of meningitis. Now, First, we will deal with the pyogenic meningitis. Pyogenic meningitis is also known as bacterial meningitis, and it is most commonly found in neonates because they have very poor or immature immunity system. Apart from the etiological factors, the risk factors could be any infection of the eyes, any infection of the nose, mouth, or respiratory tract, or it could be otitis media. That means the inflammation of the middle ear. That means the microorganism is potent enough that it can move forward, cross the blood-brain barrier, and cause inflammation in the meninges, resulting in meningitis. Next, moving forward to the clinical manifestations of the meningitis, there are three most prominent features in the meningitis. तीन बहुत ही prominent features होते हैं, बहुत ही classical features होते हैं जो meningitis में present होते हैं. पहला है knuckle rigidity या neck stiffness. Knuckle rigidity means नेक में बहुत एक्सट्रीम पेन होता है while moving your neck or the neck becomes stiff or tight. Second is positive Kernick sign and positive Brudzinski sign. Positive Kernick sign क्या होता है? Positive Kernick sign is found in patient having meningitis. How you can identify whether this is positive or how you can identify whether Kernick sign is present in the patient. Kernick sign में when you will place the patient in a supine position and when you will flex the thighs and the knees of the patient in 90 degree, then the patient will feel extreme back pain, as well as then the patient cannot voluntarily extend his legs due to the stiffness in the hamstring muscle. This is known as the positive Kernick sign. कर्निक साइन में पेशेंट को सुपाइन पोजीशन में प्लेस करेंगे. आफ्टर दैट यू विल प्लेस योर हैंड बिहाइंड द thighs of the patient and you will flex the thighs up to the abdomen level. Then afterwards you can see that the patient will feel extreme pain, as well as the patient cannot extend his legs voluntarily due to the stiffness in the hamstring muscle. This is the positive Kernick sign. Next, coming to the Brudzinski sign. In this also, you will place the patient in a supine position. You will place one hand behind the neck of the patient and one hand on the chest of the patient. Then when you will flex the neck of the patient, you can see that the legs and the thighs will automatically flex. When you will flex the neck of the patient, you can see that there will be an involuntary flexion. There will be an automatic flexion of the thighs and legs, as well as the patient will feel knuckle rigidity or there will be neck stiffness. This is positive Brudzinski sign. Apart from these prominent features, other clinical manifestations include increased ICP, papillary edema. Papillary edema means swelling in the optic nerve. Next is high fever, headache, nausea, vomiting, restlessness, irritability, seizures, high-pitched shrill cry. These all are the clinical manifestations of meningitis. Then diagnostic evaluation. कैसे diagnose करेंगे meningitis को? First is history collection. You can ask about the family history of the patient as well as the illness history. Second is physical examination. Kernick sign and Brudzinski sign are performed in the physical examination. Next is CSF examination. CSF examination में protein level decreased होगा, as well as the sugar level will be increased in the CSF. Along with that, there will be an elevation in the CSF pressure. Also, जो भी माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म है वो हम आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं CSF कल्चर में. नेक्स्ट इज CT स्कैन एंड एक्सरे, रूटीन एग्जामिनेशन ऑफ ब्लड एंड यूरिन एनालिसिस. Next is the management of the meningitis. So first is antibiotic therapy. The most commonly used drugs are penicillin 4 to 5 lakh unit per kg per day 4 hourly, or cefotaxime 200 mg per kg per day 8 hourly IV, or ceftriaxone 150 mg per kg per day BD. That means twice a day. Other antibiotics can also be given, such as ampicillin, gentamicin, amikacin, or chloramphenicol. 2 combination of antibiotics can also be administered. Next is corticosteroid therapy, and in corticosteroid therapy, dexamethasone can be given to prevent the inflammation of the meninges. Next is osmotic diuretic therapy. In this, mannitol or Neurontal can be given to reduce the intracranial pressure. Next is anticonvulsive drugs to treat the seizures or convulsions, and in this phenytoin or phenobarbital can be given. Other supportive management includes IV fluid therapy to maintain the electrolyte balance. Next is antipyretics. Antipyretics are those medicines that are used to treat fever. Next is vitamin supplementation. So this is all about the medical management of the meningitis. Next, coming to the nursing management, first is to provide complete rest and comfortable position to the patient. Second is provide calm, quiet and dim light to the patient. Third is changing the position every 2 hourly. Next, provide side rails to the patient to prevent any fall injury or providing side rails at the time of the scissors. Maintaining clear airway by oropharyngeal suctioning. IV fluid therapy to maintain the electrolyte balance, and providing emotional support and health teaching to the parents. So this is all about the nursing management of the meningitis. So let's have a quick revision on the meningitis. So by definition, meningitis refers to the inflammation of the meninges that covers the brain and the spinal cord. So any inflammation in the 3 layers of the meninges, that is the pia mater, arachnoid mater and the dura mater, is known as meningitis. Next is the etiology or the causes. Causes include any bacterial, viral or protozoan infection that can cross the blood-brain barrier and can directly spread through the hematogenous route and inflame the meninges. Types of meningitis, there are 3 types of meningitis. First is pyogenic meningitis, that is known as the bacterial meningitis. Second is the aseptic meningitis, that is the meningitis which is caused by virus, protozoa or fungi, and the last one is tuberculous meningitis. So pyogenic meningitis is also known as bacterial meningitis. It is most commonly found in neonates because in neonates the immunity power or the immunity system is very immature and poor. Next, pyogenic meningitis में clinical manifestations, there are 3 prominent clinical manifestations that we have already discussed. First is knuckle rigidity, that means the neck stiffness. Second is positive Kernick sign. Third is positive Brudzinski sign. Positive Kernick sign में जब आप patient को supine position में place करेंगे, after that when you will place your hand behind the thighs and behind the knees of the patient, and when you will flex the thighs and knees of the patient will feel extreme pain in the back, as well as the patient cannot voluntarily extend the legs of the patient. This is the positive Kernick sign. Positive Brudzinski sign, same you will do. You will place the patient in a supine position. One hand you will place behind the neck of the patient and one hand you will place on the chest of the patient. When you will flex the neck of the patient, there will be an automatically flexion of the thighs and knees also. This is positive Brudzinski sign. Apart from these features, other clinical manifestations include increased ICP, high-grade fever, seizures, nausea, vomiting, irritability, seizures, and high-pitched shrill cry. Next, moving forward to the diagnostic evaluation. The diagnostic evaluation includes the history collection, physical examination. In physical examination, you will conduct the Kernick sign and Brudzinski sign only. You will identify. Next is CT scan, X-ray, urine analysis, and other blood routine examination. Management includes antibiotic therapy, corticosteroid therapy, osmotic diuretic therapy, antipyretic drugs could be given, IV fluid therapy can be given. So these all are the medical management of meningitis. And nursing management, you will provide all the nursing care to the patient, provide comfort and rest to the patient, maintain the airway by providing oropharyngeal suctioning, maintain the position of the patient, change the position of the patient every 2 hourly, provide IV fluids and provide emotional support and health teaching to the parents. So this is all about pyogenic meningitis. Next we are going to deal about tuberculous meningitis. Classification of meningitis is tuberculous meningitis or known as TBM. TBM क्या होता है? It is the inflammation of the meninges from tubercular infection caused by Mycobacterium tuberculari. That means अगर कोई primary infection of tuberculosis already exist करता है baby में या patient में, then there are chances that it could lead to tuberculous meningitis. It is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Now coming to the clinical manifestation, तो जो clinical manifestations होते हैं that are divided into 3 stages. पहली stage है prodromal stage. इस stage को हम stage of invasion भी बोलते हैं. इस स्टेज में जो क्लिनिकल फीचर्स होते हैं वो बहुत वेग होते हैं, दैट मीन्स बहुत अनक्लियर होते हैं. जो क्लिनिकल मैनिफेस्टेशंस प्रोड्रोमल स्टेज में है वो है लो ग्रेड फीवर, एनोरेक्सिया, ड्राउजीनेस, नोजिया, वोमिटिंग, हेडेक, डिस्टर्ब स्लीप, रेस्टलेसनेस, कॉन्स्टिपेशन, फोटोफोबिया विद कन्वर्जन्स. फोटोफोबिया मीन्स सेंसिटिविटी टू लाइट. सेकेंड स्टेज इज ट्रांजिशनल स्टेज. ट्रांजिशनल स्टेज को हम स्टेज ऑफ मेनिंजाइटिस भी बोलते हैं, दैट मीन्स स्टेज ऑफ मेनिंजाइटिस. इसमें जो क्लिनिकल फीचर्स होते हैं दैट आर इंक्रीज्ड आईसीपी, मेनिंजियल इरिटेशन, पॉजिटिव कर्निक साइन, नकल रिजिडिटी अलॉन्ग विथ फीवर, ब्रैडिकार्डिया, ड्राउजीनेस, हेडेक, कन्वर्जन्स, हेमीप्लीजिया और मोनोप्लीजिया. नेक्स्ट इज ocular paralysis and papillary edema, that means the edema of the optic nerve. Last stage is the third stage. Last stage or the third stage is the terminal stage. इसको हम stage of coma भी बोलते हैं. This is also known as stage of coma. इस stage में जो clinical manifestations होते हैं that are paralysis and coma, fever, irregular respiration, pupils are dilated or fixed, nystagmus, all these clinical manifestations are present. If these clinical manifestations are untreated for 4 weeks, it could result in fatal condition of the neonate or the child. Next is diagnostic evaluation of tuberculous meningitis. The diagnostic evaluation includes history collection. A detailed history should be taken. That means the family history as well as the history of illness should be taken. Second is physical examination. A detailed, thorough physical examination should be done. Next is LP. LP means lumbar puncture. That means a needle is inserted between L3 and L4 and a CSF or cerebrospinal fluid sample is taken out from there, and a detailed CSF study or detailed CSF examination is done to identify the causative organism of meningitis, as well as if the cobweb formation is found in the CSF. If the tube is placed for 12 hours, then cobweb formation could be seen. Next is chest x-ray, CT scan, x-ray of the skull, Mentox test. Mentox test, in this is a very particular test done to diagnose tuberculosis. In this, an inactive protein of tuberculosis is injected beneath the skin, and the wheal formation is looked after 48 to 72 hours. This could identify whether the patient is having tuberculosis or not. Next is routine blood examination. Now coming to the management of tuberculous meningitis. First is anti-tubercular drugs, and these anti-tubercular drugs are given for 12 months. इसमें पहले 2 महीने के लिए for first 2 months 4 drugs are given: rifampicin, isoniazid, pyrazinamide, ethambutol or streptomycin. You can learn this in a short form, RIPE. You can very easily learn from this short mnemonic. That is, R stands for rifampicin, I stands for isoniazid, P for pyrazinamide, E for ethambutol, right? So for first 2 months, the 4 drugs that are given are rifampicin, isoniazid, pyrazinamide, ethambutol or streptomycin. Then in continuation, other 3 drugs that are given are INH, that means isoniazid, rifampicin and ethambutol. These drugs are given for 10 months. So in total, the anti-tubercular drugs are given for 12 months. Apart from these anti-tubercular drugs, also I would like to tell you all that pyridoxine 20 mg orally once a day should be given to treat the side effects of isoniazid. Apart from these anti-tubercular drugs, other drugs or other medical management that could be given are corticosteroid therapy such as dexamethasone to prevent the inflammation. Then osmotic diuretic therapy, mannitol could be given to reduce the intracranial pressure, as well as antipyretic drugs and anticonvulsive drugs could also be given. नेक्स्ट इज नर्सिंग मैनेजमेंट. नर्सिंग मैनेजमेंट में IV फ्लूइड थेरेपी देंगे टू मेंटेन द इलेक्ट्रोलाइट बैलेंस, NG फीडिंग टू मेंटेन द न्यूट्रिशनल स्टेटस ऑफ द पेशेंट. नेक्स्ट इज the nurse should monitor the complications. If any complications are occurring that might be due to the anti-tubercular drugs or that might be due to the inflammation, that the nurse should monitor the complications of the meningitis. Next is measurement of head circumference to detect hydrocephalus. Head circumference should be monitored or head circumference should be measured daily so as to identify whether the patient is developing hydrocephalus. There are many cases in which meningitis could also result in hydrocephalus. That means accumulation of CSF could be there due to overproduction of CSF or due to poor reabsorption of CSF, that could lead to hydrocephalus. So the nurse should measure the head circumference daily. Next is provide side rails to the patient to prevent any fall injury during scissors. Position of the patient should be changed every 2 hourly. Provide comfortable position as well as complete rest to the patient, and health teaching should be given to the parents. So this is all about meningitis. I hope you all must have understood regarding the meningitis. If you like the video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel.